In her beloved bedchamber at Osborne House, Queen Victoria faced a horrible death on January 22nd, 1901, at the venerable age of 81. Her lengthy reign had made her an integral figure, and her impending passing posed a significant challenge for the nation she had governed. With her passing, an era came to a close, leaving a void in the collective experience, as state funeral protocols had long fallen into disuse. As Victoria's health declined within her chambers, surrounded by her family, the nation grappled with the unprecedented task of bidding farewell to a monarch who had reigned for 63 years. Victoria's final moments were shrouded in the weight of her personal struggles. Her health had been fragile, compounded by enduring sorrow and depression following the loss of her beloved husband, Prince Albert. As she slipped away, her legacy loomed large, leaving behind questions about the fate of the nation she had guided for so long. The year 1900 proved to be a horrible one for Queen Victoria, marked by a series of tragic events that weighed heavily on her. The conflict in the Boer War, raging between Britain and Africa, loomed large in her thoughts, stirring considerable anxiety. Additionally, distress struck close to home when her eldest son, the Prince of Wales, fell victim to an assassination attempt while travelling through Belgium, targeted by a protesting youth. Further compounding Victoria's distress, her eldest daughter Vicky, known as the Dowager Empress of Germany, received a devastating diagnosis of breast cancer, its aggressive spread causing her excruciating pain within the confines of Cromer Castle. The Queen's anguish only deepened in August of the same year with the sorrowful news delivered via telegram. Her beloved son Alfred, the Duke of Edinburgh, succumbed to throat cancer, his life cut short despite his struggles with heavy drinking and smoking. Victoria lamented, "Oh God, my poor darling Alfie gone too, my third grown-up child." Yet more sorrowful tidings arrived swiftly. Her cherished grandson, Prince Christian Victor, son of Princess Helena, died of fever while serving with the British Army in South Africa. As 1900 drew to a close, a wave of grief swept through the Queen's realm with the passing of her dear friend, Lady Jane Churchill, who was discovered lifeless in bed during her visit to Osborne House. The successive blows took a toll on Victoria, evident in her visibly declining health. At 81, an age remarkable even by Victorian standards, the once vivacious monarch found her vitality waning. Her appetite diminished, leading to significant weight loss, while confinement to a wheelchair and failing eyesight underscored her physical decline. Confusion often clouded her mind, a stark departure from her earlier years of sharpness and clarity. She had reigned for over 60 years, and no one in Britain even thought about a time without her on the throne. She reigned for so long that it became the norm, leaving her children unable to acknowledge her illness, and thus no preparations were made for her impending death. Victoria herself was acutely aware of her death, expressing her feelings in her writings. "Another year begun. I am feeling so weak and unwell that I enter upon it sadly." The Queen resided in Osborne House, her beloved sanctuary on the Isle of Wight during her final days, but her health deteriorated rapidly. Despite the observations of her longtime physician, Sir James Reed, who recognized the gravity of her condition and communicated it to the royal family, denial persisted among her relatives. Even as Victoria approached her end, her family, save for Victoria, dubbed the Grandmother of Europe, remained reluctant to accept the reality. Not even in her delirium during her final moments could they fully accept the severity of her condition. Princess Helena and Princess Beatrice in particular refused to entertain the notion of their mother's death, and they tried to keep things as normal as possible. However, discord among the doctors persisted, complicating matters further, while many members of the royal family hesitated to heed the summons to Osborne House. The Prince of Wales, Victoria's heir, felt frustrated by the necessity of cancelling weekend plans, while the Duke of Connaught found himself obligated to attend celebrations in Berlin, marking 200 years of the Prussian monarchy. Some family members were engaged elsewhere, including at the theatre. Meanwhile, Sir James Reed, the Queen's physician, recognized the urgency of the situation. He telegraphed Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany, prompting the cancellation of all celebrations. Together with the Duke of Connaught, they journeyed to England, compelling the royal family to disclose the Queen's illness to the public and initiate preparations for her eventual passing. The sudden announcement caught her subjects off guard, with headlines such as "Queen unconscious, sinking fast" dominating the news. However, tabloids had never handled this sort of story before, and they speculated, inaccurately, that she was getting better. It's believed that even the Queen herself struggled to come to terms with the approach of her death. She turned to her doctor, asking hopefully, "Am I getting better? I would like to live a little longer, as I have a few things to settle." Sir James responded with gentle reassurance, affirming that although she had been very ill, she was now improving. This moment of hope may have been a common experience preceding the decline toward death, a phase some individuals encounter before their health deteriorates rapidly. Such was the case with Queen Victoria. From January 17, 1901, she suffered from a series of severe strokes, leading to an urgent gathering of the entire royal family on the Isle of Wight. As the Queen's health continued to decline, governmental affairs came to a stop, as she was unable to fulfill her duties. There were discussions about her son assuming the role of regent for a brief period, but Osborne House saw an influx of guests as the situation unfolded, reflecting the concern and attention surrounding the Queen's condition. Phone calls were frequently coming to the house every minute from the media seeking updates, while crowds gathered outside the gates. Meanwhile, Victoria lay in her bed, surrounded by her family in the confines of her small bedroom. The Bishop of Winchester and the rector of a local church stood vigil, offering prayers and singing hymns. Kaiser Wilhelm II, her grandson, remained by her left side for hours, while her doctor, Sir James Reed, gently held her hand. Despite her failing eyesight, Victoria expressed her awareness of her grave condition, murmuring to Sir James, "I am very ill." Sir James, ever reassuring, continued to offer comfort, promising her recovery while nurses provided additional support. Witnessing Victoria in such a state was distressing for the royal family, causing tears and profound sorrow. One by one, each son, daughter and grandchild was summoned to kiss the Queen's hand and bid their final farewells. On January 22, 1901, Queen Victoria passed away at the age of 81. The news of Queen Victoria's death spread rapidly before the formal acceptance of the crown by the new king, Edward VII. An announcement was affixed to the bulletin board at the gates of Osborne House, signaling the beginning of a global outpouring of grief. Newspapers rushed to publish special editions, while the tolling bells of St. Paul's Cathedral echoed throughout London. The city adorned itself in mourning, with people donning black attire, and shop windows were covered in somber cloth. Amidst the widespread sorrow, panic caught both the royal family and the government, who found themselves unprepared for the planning of a state funeral. Victoria's explicit wishes further complicated matters, as she had requested a full military funeral without embalming or lying in state. She specified white ponies to pull the gun carriage bearing her coffin and expressed her desire to be buried alongside her beloved husband, Albert, at Frogmore, rather than at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. Tensions heightened when Kaiser Wilhelm II ordered a death mask against Victoria's wishes, causing offence to the royal family. Additionally, the Duke of York fell seriously ill, adding to the chaos. The royal undertaker, hastily summoned from London, worsened the situation by forgetting to bring the coffin, further contributing to the atmosphere of confusion and uncertainty. This called for a local craftsman to fashion the coffin for Britain's longest-reigning monarch at the time. Amidst reports of organizational chaos, the completed coffin was dispatched to Osborne House. Assisted by Queen Victoria's dresser, Mrs. Tuck, the doctor oversaw preparations for Victoria's interment. Adhering to the Queen's wishes, embalming was avoided, with charcoal scattered on the coffin floor to mitigate smells. Victoria was attired in a white silk dressing gown, adorned with a garter ribbon and star, with her wedding veil placed over her face. Subsequently, the Duke, the Kaiser, and the King lifted her body into the coffin, bidding their final farewells. Upon the family's departure, the Doctor and Mrs. Tuck fulfilled the Queen's clandestine requests. They placed several items, including the wedding ring of John Brown, her Scottish servant, upon her finger, and a lock of his hair within the confines of the coffin. The funeral procession was so huge, with her cortege crossing the Solent, drawing a vast contingent of soldiers to London to participate in the event. It marked the largest military procession since the Duke of Wellington's funeral, spanning a duration of 2 hours. Yet, amid the solemnity, the procession was not without its moments of drama as the coffin nearly slipped off the carriage. The service held in St. George's Chapel was marked by a sense of chaos, compounded by the premature arrival of 2 archbishops and the notable absence of naval personnel. The chapel found itself only partially filled, necessitating the invitation of additional attendees. Ultimately, Queen Victoria made her final journey to Frogmore, where she was laid to rest alongside her beloved husband, Albert, in the same mausoleum. Today, they rest side by side, their legacies intertwined. Queen Victoria presided over a period of immense transformation in Britain, leaving an indelible mark on its history and society. Throughout her reign, Queen Victoria presided over significant portions of the Industrial Revolution, spearheading profound change across the country. Concurrently, she ascended as the head of the British Empire during its zenith, enjoying a period of unparalleled power and influence, earning her the title of Empress of India. However, after 63 years on the throne, Queen Victoria passed away within the confines of her cherished residence, leaving her nation engulfed in mourning and profound loss. Many during her reign regarded her as invincible. Yet surrounded by her family after a prolonged illness, Queen Victoria's death was undeniable as she peacefully departed this world.